Alright everybody, this is my Nitara advanced guide. Now, sorry it took me so long to make this video. I've been really busy. Obviously, I can't just play the game every single day as much as I want to, but I can't, unfortunately. But the guide is here. I'm making it for you all right now, and I hope you all will enjoy this. So let's go straight up into it. So in the beginner's guide, I went over the basics. 1-2-1-2 is her basic launch punisher. Forward 1-2 is her mid. More specifically, the forward one is the mid. Forward 1-2, the second hit is an overhead. Her sweep back 4 is a double hitting low. And whatchamacallit. And she has these moves. Her fly, her air dash is more specifically this move as well, which when enhanced gives you the opportunity to combo after it and do whichever moves you want. She has a dive kick in the air as well. And what I'm going to be talking about in this video are her other moves, looking more into in-depth on her dashes, what she can do from it, this rising uppercut sort of move that you can call it as well, and just overall like general game plan and stuff you can do with her. So let's go straight into the combos. Because this is an advanced guide, the combos are going to be much more advanced. So in the beginner's guide, I suggested something like a 1-2-1-2 1-2-4 dive kick, something very simple. But now we're going to be looking into something much more advanced. We're going to be looking into this right here. Now this gives you a lot of corner carry. You essentially go corner to corner for this, almost, I should say. But you do get a lot of corner carry from this. If you land this mid-screen, you're going to get the corner every single time. It does roughly 320 damage, which is really good. It's also meterless, and because it ends with the dive kick, which is a hard knockdown, you can get a potential setup afterwards, a safe jump setup, which I will be showing off later. So the way you do this is 1-2-4, dash down forward into a falling jump in 2. So let me show that part off again. So like that. As you land from your falling jump in 2, you want to do a micro dash forward, stand 4, rising uppercut into the dive kick. Now what's important about this uppercut move is, you saw right there, is I'm canceling this into all my aerial specials. I can cancel this into the dash, and as you saw in the combo, you can also cancel this into your dive kick, and you can also cancel it into this bite move right here. However, I suggest you go for the hard knockdown almost every single time, because you do get the setup, and with a character like Nitara, once you're in, you kind of want to stay in their face. But if you know that it's going to kill, that the combo is going to kill, I would suggest you go for the bite, because this does give you more damage, as you can see right there. Or if you want to go for more combos, obviously you go for the bite, because this move right there, after she does that sort of kick and they're launched in the air, that gravity is set. No matter how much gravity are in your combos, let me just show you an example right now. So there's a lot of gravity in this, but as you can see, he's still floating in the air for a pretty long time. So if you want to extend your combos, I would suggest you go for the enhanced bite. But if you go very early into your combos like this, I would much rather suggest getting the ground bounce from your dive kick. So if you already start the combo with very little to no gravity, go for the enhanced dive kick off of this rising uppercut. So this is also another optimal combo that I want to show up. You get the corner, you get the knockdown. 400 damage for 1 bar is really good. 1-2-1-2, stand 4 uppercut, enhanced dive kick. 1-2-4 dash 2-4 into the bite, which is roughly 420, 415, depending on what character you're fighting against. Or you could just end that with a dive kick for 400. Either way is completely good. If this combo is too hard, the falling 2, micro dash, stand 4, uppercut into dive kick, you can also go for this version right here. 1-2-4, 2-4, oops, wrong button, my bad. So you go 1-2-4 dash 2-4-2 into the bite if you want to get the damage. As you can see, I'm not in the corner. I have to do 2 dashes to get the corner, versus if I do the other variation that I showed, pretty much when I land after the dive kick hits, we're essentially as far deep into the corner as possible. So this is a good option, like I said earlier, if you want more so damage, because this, by the end of it, you get 345, roughly 340. versus this other variation here, which just gives you a lot of corner carry, is about 320. So you get 20 less damage, but you get the corner, versus this one you get as much damage as you can, but they're not in the corner. There is some space you have to cover. So you just have to play between those two options. And like I mentioned earlier, if you have a bar, 124 dash, 242, if there's a lot of gravity, you do that. 2-4 dive kick or 2-4 bite. Or if there's very little gravity, stand 4 into your uppercut, 2-4 knockdown, 2-4 bite, same thing. Now, let me go into her sort of mobility here after we're done with the combos. You don't want to just spam her aerial mobility here, because in this game, up block does exist. And if you watch my shorts video of how the up block works, is if you block a jump in attack or an overhead attack and it's considered an up block, you're going to get punished every single time. So you have to be wary of just not just constantly coming in with this, being like, oh, you have to hold all my aerial pressure and do this, because if they up block it, you're going to eat that every single time. You're going to get punished. Versus if you have certain cameos, which what I like to do, I have Kung Lao here. You can hold his low hat. I like to do sort of like this, not necessarily come falling with an attack, but let the low hat from Kung Lao hit them first. Or if you're around this range, you could just sort of do the low hat to just to, you know, catch them off guard for a split second, sort of give you that bit of time that you need to cut the space. Or if you want to just dash forward like that, you can as well. Because a tricky thing for this character, for her, is actually opening people up and getting to her pressure, compared to a character like Smoke, who has the overheads, who has the lows, and they could just cancel it into combos and all that stuff. They are unsafe, obviously, on Smoke, which is sort of what balances it out. But this character doesn't really have a super threatening overhead. She just has this overhead right here, which is 28 frames. That's roughly half a second, so that's very, very slow. You can easily react to this move. And this low is double hitting, and you can't really get much off of it other than canceling the first hit into Kung Lao's hat. Or if you have Sector, you can do back 4 into the back cameo to get Sector's teleport, but that is a punish if they block it, and that's the risk you take. Because obviously Sector's teleport punch, you can combo after it, so that's the risk you take for doing it. Which is why me personally, I'm just messing a little bit with Kung Lao, because even if they block this hat, if you look on the bottom left corner, I am left +2 afterwards, so I do have advantage to potentially carry on my pressure even more. However, there is a gap in the string whenever you call in the hat. So no matter what string you do, if you call in the hat, you're going to get reversal punished if they have a bar meter. So you have to be wary of that. I'm trying to block after I do my move, but as you can see, I'm getting punished every single time. So you have to be careful of that as well. And earlier I mentioned how I would prefer to end with the dive kicks instead of just ending it with the damage by doing this. I prefer to end my combos with the dive kick for the hard knockdown, because you have much more Oki and you could just do a lot of your, I wouldn't necessarily say gimmicky setups, but you can definitely catch a lot of people off guard if they're not familiar with the matchup. So after the dive kick hits, just imagine the dive kick hits, I like to do whiffed jump and kick, aerial dash down into the falling jump into. So like this. As you're falling with your aerial dash, just do jump into, just like that. And the reason why this is so good is because I will show you right here. That is a safe jump setup that works on every single character in the game except for Johnny and General Shao. You're going to have to need a sector assist to break the armor. You can punish them for sure if you block it, obviously. But if you have the perfect timing down, you can get an armor break setup. So let me just show you how that would work. So an example combo, do something like that, and you break the armor just like that. Johnny and General Shao have super armor, so they have more than 2 hits. So you're going to need a sector assist to break the additional hits of the armor, because the jump in 2 breaks 1. My bad. The jump in 2 breaks 1. The standing one from your 1-2-1-2 string breaks the rest. Versus General Shao and Johnny, they don't have that. By the time you get to the 2, they still have the armor and you're gonna get hit. But the sector assist, if you have that out, is gonna get that hit that you need to break the armor. And then from this string right here with the launch, it's going to break it. So you're gonna be completely okay with that. So let me just show that one more time. 1-2-4 into the dive kick. My bad. Do 1-2-4 into the dive kick with the jump and kick, falling, jump in 2, and then you go into your string. Let me see. You get the save jump right there. As you can see, I even hit Raiden. You heard the armor clanking move, and I was still able to block in time for a punish. So you can definitely use that move as well. If you catch them off guard with that a lot, you can go into your back 2 overhead. It is slow, but they're going to be so overwhelmed with the pressure that most of the time they're not going to be expecting this. But I wouldn't necessarily say to rely on this move. Just do it more so just to keep them in check, that there is an overhead option that they have to worry about. Also, another thing, if you do back 2 into the aerial dash cancel, this does cost a bar of meter. You do see that she glows for like about half a second right there. So this does cost a bar of meter to do. You can extend your combos and get something like this afterwards, but you are spending the bar of meter into it, and this does scale. So you have to be wary of that. This counts for back 2, for standing 3, and also this rising uppercut on whiff, it also counts as well. I believe even in combos this counts too. Yeah, in combos this also counts as well. So you have to be wary of that. So that's also another reason of why I said of not necessarily to just spam this all the time, because if you spam it, you can do it multiple times in the air, and each multiple time you do it, it does cost a bar of meter. So you're probably going to accidentally spend all the bars you need and just have no meter and just get absolutely destroyed. So you have to be careful of that as well. And I'm going to be uploading ranked sets from me playing Combat League or casual matches, or even private sets if people would like to see me do that as well, just so you can see more of what this character can do. Now obviously I can explain every single little thing in the guide. I can't do that. However, it is also important to see sort of how these moves work in action, because it's a fighting game. There's so many scenarios that can happen, and there's so many things that's just matchup dependent that you just can't go through in an individual guide, because using a character like Raiden with Serena is much different than using a character like with Raiden with a Cyrax assist, or Raiden with a Scorpion. There's a general approach to approaching Raiden himself, obviously, but the way they use the cameos in this game just genuinely, it changes the game so much. Because I remember using Sector with Nitara, like how I showed in the beginner's video, and using Kung Lao with Nitara is such a different game that I just can't even begin to explain how different it is. She actually has pressure that they have to worry about now. With the forward 1-2, second hit is an overhead, but the hat hits it as a low. So there's a sort of like little mini mix-up you now have to worry about. And also if they block it, you're +2, so you can continue your pressure. It's just so different. But be on the lookout for those rank sets like I mentioned earlier. But as of right now, I'm just going to call it for here. Also, before I go, actually, to go into the Fatal Blow, 2-4 into Fatal Blow. You always want to do 2-4 into Fatal Blow. Anything else will whiff, right? If they're high to the ground like this, which is also another reason why I suggest you go for the enhanced version of her bite. It sets them up high, 2-4 into the bite, the Fatal Blow, and you'll see that every single time it's going to hit. So just always remember that. Do not go for the Fatal Blow on the ground, because she's going to go into the air first, and that wastes time. But if she's in the air, she's already in the air anyways. So it's going to hit much sooner, as you saw right there. So just always remember that. And with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this sort of advanced guide that I did for this character. Like I said earlier as well, be on the lookout for those ranked sets that I'm going to be uploading. And I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one.